What is up, Raidernation? It's your boy Samora back at it again with the very first pre-game preview of the 2025 season. It's been quite a while since I've done one of these, but I'm really excited that Raiders football is finally here. We finally get to see the Raiders face off against the Seattle Seahawks tomorrow night at Lumen Field. Pete Carroll gets to finally go home to face his former team as well as Geno Smith and Jamal Adams. Outside of that, we get to see a lot of our young rookies, some of our starters play, because earlier this week, Pete Carroll clearly said that we will be seeing our starters playing this week.
Do you think you'll play your full set of starters on Thursday?
Everybody's alive. Everybody's ready to go.
And I cannot be more excited than right now. The Raiders are 0-0 on the season, so that's why you guys see a big smile on my face. And hopefully we can keep the same energy moving into the season, and hopefully I don't get stressed out and just done with this team by the middle of the year. That being said, though, if this is the very first time you guys are coming across this channel and you love Raiders content just like this, then hit that subscribe button, hit that notification icon button to notify you guys when I upload more videos like this. That being said, you guys know how we start things off on pre-game previews. We got to give you some nation news. I do want to highlight some of the big things that happened earlier this week. One of those things being the Raiders trading away cornerback Jacorian Bennett to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for Thomas Booker IV. You guys already know my thoughts on this. It surprised me at first. I'm not saying that Thomas Booker can't be good. I'm just surprised that the Raiders gave up on Jacorian Bennett this early. But according to some reports, especially from Vinny B in the place to be, he stated that the Raiders had attempted to trade away Jacorian Bennett several weeks ago before training camp has started. Now, this does make so much sense because there's been so much reports going around with Jacorian Bennett being the odd man out, the guy that's on the outside looking in. And we've seen him all throughout training camp playing with the ones, the twos, and the threes. We just didn't know where he fit in. And knowing Pete Carroll, and I know everybody's going to say this, Jacorian Bennett was just not his guy. He's not his cup of tea, especially at the cornerback position and for how small he is. I'm one of those guys that don't really care about how tall you are or how short you are. As long as you got that dog in you and you go out there and perform, then you deserve a spot on the roster. I guess the same cannot be said for Jacorian Bennett. I mean, we've had guys like Amik Robertson before, really short guys, and now we got Ashton Jency, who's one of the shorter running backs in the NFL. But hey, it is what it is. On top of that, the Raiders saw their window once they saw the Eagles became interested and traded for defensive tackle Thomas Booker, who John Spytek had done some research on and was interested in inquiring him. Now, you know, Thomas Booker is going to add a lot of depth to the Raiders defensive line right now, especially with a guy like Leki Fotu, who I don't know how long he's going to be out, but was in a walking boot just seen recently. Now, the defensive line has been stripped a little bit, especially with Christian Wilkins not here anymore, no pun intended, but there's gonna be other guys stepping up, and I believe that Thomas Booker, from everything that I've been hearing, especially from Philadelphia Eagle fans, he seems like a solid guy that just didn't get enough play time. So coming over here to Las Vegas, he seems like he will get a lot of PT. As long as he goes out there and shows out, then we'll see if he's actually worth the trade or not. Now, something I found really ironic and kind of interesting today when I woke up was the fact that we got to see the Raiders' former head coach Antonio Pierce donning the ugly-ass mustard yellow and ketchup red and joining the Kansas City Chiefs at their practice today. Now, there was a video and pictures circulating of him over there, and honestly, I just got the ick. I find that ironic is because Antonio Pierce was the main one that, you know, had something to say about the Kansas City Chiefs, especially as our rivals. But knowing how petty he might be, you know, leaving the Raiders or getting let go from the Raiders, I guess I totally understand why he doesn't give a shit. Now, I don't think I would take this as a big deal, but I know amongst the Raider Nation, this is something that just seems too weird for us. But Raider Nation, what do you guys think about AP showing up to the Kansas City Chiefs camp, rocking that Kansas City Chiefs colors? Hey, it is what it is. Now, one of the newer segments that I'm going to be adding to my pregame previews is the top storylines going into the game. Now, one of the top storylines, of course, is going to be Pete Carroll and Geno Smith and even Jamal Adams returning to Seattle for the very first time since leaving. Now, there has been reports going around that the Seattle Seahawks are going to have a huge tribute for those three players, and Why not? I mean, Pete Carroll is the coach that gave them a Super Bowl, their one and only Super Bowl, and he helped lead a dynasty over there in Seattle, which was really huge. Also, with Geno Smith being a beacon of hope for them at the quarterback position after Russell Wilson, I know for a fact that Geno is just excited overall just to return and just see some old coaches and some old players, because at the end of the day, he's got a lot of respect for them because that's the team that helped revitalize his career.
Man, looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing my old teammates, old coaches, people in the building. It'll be fun. Also going back with Pete, that's pretty cool. And then another opportunity to, compete with my guys. That's always what it's all about. It was a place where, I called home for 6 years. Was able to, I had a son there. And, I was able to really just kind of turn my career around. Met some really cool people. Got to know a lot of great people there. A lot of great teammates over the years. And just really special things, special thoughts that come to my mind when I think about it.
So that's going to be a pretty cool homecoming to see, even though it's just a preseason game and it's not going to be much, just to go back over there and just to see Geno Smith and Pete Carroll play on the opposing side of the Seattle Seahawks is going to be really interesting. And just for me in general, I'm just really excited to see this whole Pete Carroll era start over here in Las Vegas. It's been a long time. We've been struggling for a long time. This is the third different regime that we've had in the last 3 years, and I'm hoping and I'm praying and I do believe that this new regime is going to help turn this team around. Now, I don't know if that's going to amount to going into the playoffs or even the Super Bowl, but as long as the culture is switched up over here, then that's all we can ask for as Raider fans. Now, that being said, I do believe that that is the biggest storyline going into this game outside of just seeing everybody play, outside of seeing all the young rookies, all the undrafted free agents, all of the new pieces that we signed and free agency playing for the very first time. I think this is one of the more anticipated games of the season for any team. I know for a fact that the first quarter at least is going to be really entertaining. After that, I know it's going to start getting a little bit boring, but hey, it is what it is. We get to see a lot of young guys, and that's who I'm going to really keep my eye on and see who stands out. Now, speaking of players to stand out, I want to move on to my next segment. We're going to be looking at some of the players that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on in this game. And the very first player that I'm going to keep an eye on is definitely our newest quarterback, Geno Smith. Like I said earlier, he's going right back to Seattle, to his old stomping grounds, to the place he made a name for himself to go play. Now, we know that he's going to be starting, but we don't know how long we're going to have him out there. So just seeing him out there for the very first drive is going to be really interesting for me. Just the fact that we got to see a little bit of a snippet from him at the open practice / mock game. I hope that he could keep that same energy with some opposing defenses out there. And if we could get one great drive out of that, then I think it's a win-win for the Raiders. That being said, though, I don't expect much out of Geno Smith, but we're going to look at the other two quarterbacks, Aidan O'Connell and Cam Miller, who is the next player I'm going to be keeping a huge eye on. Cam Miller, of course, is the late round quarterback that we drafted this past season, and he's a guy that Tom Brady vouched for later in the rounds and was a guy that Tom Brady was definitely high on. And Cam Miller even spoke on this. He was asked about this, and this is what he had to say.
If it is true that it's very humbling and honoring to know that the best quarterback to ever play the game endorsed me, but at the same time, I have my own path, he had his own path, and I think every quarterback from the age of 5 to, the veteran quarterbacks in the league are all still chasing him. So, just if I do have a conversation with him and he talked to our team the other day, it's just writing down every single thing that he says because, it's extremely important for me.
I feel like Cam Miller has a huge ceiling, and I feel like his future is ahead of him. He's got everything in place for him. If he can go out there and at least move his way up the depth chart, or at least show some flashes that he can be a solid quarterback for the future, then I feel like the Raiders will be in good hands. But this is the very first game. I know we're going to see a lot more of him throughout the whole preseason, but this is just the first taste, and I know he's going to get the most PT out of the quarterbacks that we have outside of Aidan O'Connell. Now, I'm going to stay with the same theme of just seeing the young guys, the young rookies, because, of course, when the first game comes out, that's who we all going to look out for. And I know that the number one rookie that everybody wants to see, at least in action for a little bit, is our number one or our first round pick in this past draft, Ashton Gency. Will he look explosive out there? Will he look rocked up and thick? Will he look like the running back of the future? Or well, he just looks apart. Who knows? I know it's just one game, but just seeing him out there in action with the number 2 out there in the backfield, I'm just going to be really excited to see what he can do. On top of that, I really am excited to see Dante Thornton Jr. We've talked about him all offseason long, ever since we drafted him. I even got to sit down with them and have a podcast with them. So, of course, I'm going to be a big fan of those that come and show love as well. So, Dante Thornton Jr., been hearing nothing but great things from all his peers. So, let's see if that shows up on game day. Can he look like Geno Smith's top option outside of Jacoby Myers? Can he pop off for a huge touchdown? Definitely going to be somebody to look out for. Now, moving on to the defensive side of the ball, Greedy Vance is another name to keep an eye on, because we've heard some things about Greedy Vance really working his way into the depth chart and really showing out. I know the Cameron Richardson and Darren Porter seems like guys that are moving way up the depth chart, but Greedy Vance has been getting praise as well, and we're going to see a lot of them later, especially in the second half or maybe even the second quarter of the game. And last but not least, I'm going to look at the 2 defensive linemen that we drafted this year. Of course, the defensive line is real open right now, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity and competition there. So seeing JJ Pegues and Tonka Hemingway go out there and play, I want to see who really stands out and who can take that role to possibly back up Adam Butler and Jonah Laulu. Outside of all of that though, Raider Nation, who are you guys looking forward to the most to watching in this game? What is the big storyline that you have? What is your game day prediction for the Raiders? And do you see the Raiders winning this game if it even matters? Or do you guys just want to see something good out there, some good product out there? Let me know down in the comments below, man. Now, honestly, it's real cool to finally come back and do a pregame preview. So if you guys do enjoy this video and want to see more, please hit that like button. It does a lot for this channel, and it just proves that you guys want to see more content like this pumped out each and every single day. Now, I'm really thinking about going live tomorrow night for the Raiders and Seahawks game. So if you guys want to join me on the live stream, definitely tap in. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys want to see a live stream, because I would love to react to the game, especially if I'm not able to go to some of the away games. So this is going to be something that I'm going to kind of implement into the regular season as well. And I just want to hang out with you guys, react to everything, and just hope the Raiders come out on top. That being said though, Raider Nation, until tomorrow, until the game, and after we take that W, it's your boy Some More Raider. Until the next video, your boy is, yeah.